Redditors, what's the most metal thing you've ever seen? Steve Irwin wrestles a croc back into the river, stands up and looks at his hand. Crikey, I dislocated my finger. Grabs his finger and pops it back into place, then double takes. Wait, never mind. It's broken. Steve was something else, man, lol. There was an article about a rapist who threw gasoline on his victim and proceeded to light her up in an effort to shut her up for good. She dragged him into the flames to burn with her. I heard of that one, pretty sure she managed to survive that too. Yup, she made it, rapist did not. Her name Rasputin by chance? Close cousin of his, Rasputin Asterisk Rasputina. My boss drilled into his hand when a bit slipped. Got his knife out. Picked the filings of steel that got into his hand. Got the alcohol and poured it over. Slapped crazy glue to close the gap and drove to the hospital. The crazy part is that his face never changed. No emotion at all. Edit. Shout out to my other coworker that had 2 of his fingers get caught on a rolling machine and torn apart. He just turned around and said, "Help me guys," in the most nonchalant way. The line between metal and farmer is a thin one indeed. Didn't see this firsthand, but my dad's friend told us about one time when his dog chased a bear up a tree. In a dog versus bear fight, the bear would win every time, but they tend to be pretty timid, so this dog treated. The guy calls his dog back into the house, but before leaving, the dog pees on the tree with the bear in it. Super ballsy on the dog's part. That's what we call a power move. Edit. Hey Vsauce, swanky here. The biggest of flexes. / ha, what a fudging loser, I am a piss on your tree to assert my dominance / I didn't witness it directly, but it absolutely qualifies. A few months back my friend noticed his 18-year-old cat seemed sick, just really lethargic, and seemed to have a small wound / bump on his tail. He kept an eye on him for a day or two, seeing if he was going to have to take him into the vet. 2 days later, the cat barfs up a dead black widow spider, and legitimately went back to normal after and cleaned his tail wound himself and it healed. This fudging cat was bit by a black widow and then ate it and came out completely fine. So metal. Edit. Added an unnecessary apostrophe, smiley face. Iguanas vs snakes, Planet Earth 2. I know exactly what scene you mean. Trying to fall asleep to the earlove that is David Attenborough is impossible with that going on. I fall asleep to documentaries. His voice is one of the few that can either soothe you to sleep or get you completely enthralled in what he's saying. Protect Sir Attenborough at all costs, Britain. He is 93, that makes me incredibly sad. I used to have a basset hound and a tiny cow-looking chihuahua. Basset hounds have a nose and a desire to hunt. One time a hawk came down, trying to carry away the chihuahua. As it swooped, it didn't get a chance to grab the tiny cow because my basset caught its neck, brought it to the ground, and started methodically breaking all its bones by running its jaw up and down the hawk's body until it lay there dying, unable to move. My dog won't even eat other animals. It just hunts. Bassets are great. My friend's family had one that was basically a giant lazy sausage that moved only to get food and pets. One time they took him camping and a rabbit ran past and he just took off after it. They were all left standing there gobsmacked, going, "Did you know Beasley could run?" I watched an epic fight between a spider wasp and a huntsman spider. It went on for about 10 minutes and was like a kind of mini Godzilla King of the Monsters vibe. It ended with the spider wasp winning and dragging the spider back into a big hole in my garden wall. It was fudging intense. Australian wildlife is metal AF. You need to film that kinda shiz and put it on YouTube. I'd sub to your channel so fast. Haha. It would mostly feature me screaming and shouting what the hell. That's the charm, remember honey badger don't care? At the time I was a CT tech at a major trauma hospital. Patient comes with gunshot wound to forehead, self-inflicted, with a .22 caliber. They were alert and orientated and following directions but kept trying to put their finger in the hole. They were surprised there was a hole in their forehead. I just watched the first season of Deadwood on HBO and a dude tries to stick his finger into a .38 size hole in his temple. I was mildly alarmed. Good show. They just released the movie on HBO. Any good? Been waiting for that one. Rammstein at the Metro in Chicago for $5 in the summer of 1998. Holy shiz, $5. I spent $700 on tickets for the last 3 times I saw them. Old lady I used to take care of, she was an aircraft mechanic in her youth during WW2. She fought me tooth and nail every time I went in to help her. One day in the dining room she fell out of her wheelchair and busted her head wide open. She was 95. Blood everywhere. This lady stands up, blood running down her face. We rushed to help her. She looked me dead in the face and said, "Fudge off, I don't need any help." We called an ambulance. One of my friends has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, far worse than myself. I remember once her foot fell out from under her on a staircase. She slipped down and ended up a curled and contorted mess, having dislocated both shoulders and twisted her legs underneath her. Before I could even get down the stairs and help, she started popping her joints back in and untangling herself. It was like watching a marionette build itself from a pile of parts. Either truly metal, or nightmare fodder. Whoa, like a real-life nebula. There's a whale autopsy video where the whale is paraded through a town and then basically explodes because of build-up gas. That was pretty metal. Is this the one Dave Barry wrote about where they decided the best course of action was to blow the whale up thinking it would blow into tiny pieces? Instead they were hammered with giant pieces of whale flying in every direction? Cars were destroyed. No people died. But it was also hilarious. Right here on Reddit, a decapitated wasp picked up its head and flew away. Link PLS. Don't know how to do the link thing but here you go. Looks like a stop-motion Tool music video. Turning off the highway onto a road that leads into a small country town, there was a deer carcass rotting underneath the sun that was likely the result of a vehicle hit. Feasting on the corpse was a bald eagle, with its beak stained red from his free meal. I slowed down to observe, and he spread his wings out as if to show his dominance. Once in a lifetime sight. I've heard that any non-American observers of such events gain citizenship immediately and anyone who is already a citizen becomes president. Punk rock, not metal, but kids were getting kicked out of a show by security for stage diving and the band stopped their set to invite everyone on stage to sing with them, cause you can't kick out everyone. I can't remember the band for sure, but I wanna say it was Rancid. That sounds very punk rock. Saw Idols in Toronto last summer and they let people jump up on the stage during Exeter. All band members except the drummer stepped back and let people play their instruments and continue the song. It did not sound good. Was at a Slayer concert and saw a man crowd surfing on a wheelchair. That's a very bad idea. You lose your wheelchair. Source: I had to find my wheelchair after the show at a Ministry concert. What about a wheelchair seat belt? I've seen those a few times. I've also seen people fall from the wheelchair. When I was younger, maybe 16, this young kid walks up to me all angry, slapped my smoothie to the ground and walks away. No words, just eye contact and a man on a mission. I'll find you one of these days, Austin. Austin is in Texas. Jesus, dude. Snitches get stitches. I saw a falcon attack a squirrel's nest and it kept going back for the babies, tearing them apart, then throwing them to the ground. Then the parent squirrel jumped at the falcon and it literally tore the poor thing's head clean off and its headless body fell to its mangled children. You wrap this thread up. We're done here. Initially thought the squirrel tore the falcon's head and I was like damn that's some metal shiz, then reread it and realized it was the other way round. Let's all agree to remember it that way because that's way more badass. I saw 3 deer corner a small child and eat his ice cream. Child was screaming like Dio whilst his Japanese mother filmed the whole thing cackling to herself. Metal. Edit. Since I'm getting a lot of comments, this wasn't Nara, it was the island of Miyajima next to Hiroshima. Still Japanese deer though. A man recently died and wife in critical condition in Australia because the deer they had attacked them. Don't fudge with deer. Edit. Welp, my most upvoted comment of all time is about a person dying. Thanks Reddit. I remember in college we had psycho squirrels on campus. I once saw the end of a fight between 2 and the losing squirrel had its tail torn off. The winner triumphantly carried off the corpse of the other one in its jaws.